Hey, what's good, y'all? Frank here, and we are back with a video that I've seen requested, but in my opinion is basically apples and oranges. But hey, I'm here, and currently at the price point that it stands, if you're just buying them alone, not considering other hardware that you might need to buy as well, i.e. PS5. I mean, if you got $500 in your hand, what are you gonna buy? PSVR2 Quest 3. Now, this is assuming that you already have a PS5, so please take that into consideration. And also, please take into consideration that I did not script any of this and I am just floating from the dome. So if I ramble a bit or I miss anything that you'd like answered, please let me know in the comments below and I will do my best to get you an answer as soon as possible. So let's kick this off with the hardware. Now, hardware-wise, I know people are gonna tell you yada yada specs, yada yada this, yada yada that. When you're looking through both headsets, not considering the software, they look great. You're not gonna complain in either one. Yes, you're gonna see some issues here and there with both headsets in many different use cases, but we've advanced to the point with these two to where you're looking at something nice. Now, I don't know what you're gonna be looking at, but what I'm saying is that the item that you're looking through looks good. I will say comfort-wise, out of the box, Quest 3, although I do think you need to take the initial strap and get rid of it, but something about that comforty feeling of it, like a teddy bear, just kind of up in my face versus the plastic of the PSVR 2, really, I don't know what it is about it, but I just like it for longer play sessions. I really enjoy the feel of that one. Weight-wise, I mean, you're not gonna notice that big of a difference. If you have the Elite strap, especially on the Quest 3, it feels kind of like PSVR 2 style-y. So you know what I mean? You dial in and you're chilling. So yes, comfort-wise, Quest 3 wins that one altogether. Now, hardware in general, the big difference everybody's gonna try to sell you on is wired versus wireless. Now, I am personally of the debate that I don't care. As long as I'm having a good experience, I think as long as the wire is long enough, if it was a 2-foot, 3-foot wire, I mean, we'd be having a different discussion, but this is a long enough wire to where it's not an issue. Maybe the first day you're gonna need to know how far you need to go, where it's coming from, which direction you should cut this and that, but after that, it's not a big stressor. The only stressor I've seen with it is if I'm in a rolly chair and I keep spinning around and around, the wire will go around the bottom of the rolly chair, which that sucks, but I mean, don't sit in a rolly chair and spin around like that. I mean, that's on me. So really not that big of a deal. Where I think the big deal comes from the wire is that, let's say you got a buddy and you want to show him your new virtual reality device. With the wired PSVR 2, you got to get the PSVR 2, you got to get the controllers, you got to get the controller wires, possibly. You got to get the PS5, you got to go all that, stick it in a box and bring it over to your homie's house. Or you got to invite him over, which you're not always going to guarantee that, and it's not always going to be the easiest thing. Versus Quest 3, you throw it in a bag, you walk out the door and you're good to go. You just carry it in your hand, you know what I mean? Like a briefcase, if that's what you want to do, and you're good to go. It's ready, which is, in my opinion, in this time of VR, where it's really more of a check out this really cool device I have and the capabilities that are available on it, and you should try it out, versus like, all of my buddies got a VR headset, let's just hop in and go play. I have to argue that the portability and the frictionlessness of the Quest 3 at $500 versus PSVR 2 at that same price point, pretty much, is better. You know what I mean? You're gonna show it off to more people, more things, more that's where I really think the wire plays a part in there. Now, dealing with software on the device, I would much rather play a game on PSVR 2. The load times are faster. Getting in there is quicker. You know what I mean? Things just, it's a much more buttery smooth experience depending on the developer. Not all developers are gonna optimize for PSVR 2. Sometimes they're just gonna say, F it, let's just get it to work, which, I mean, that happens, but hopefully that's the point of channels like this. And so really, PSVR 2 is where it's at for the software. Sadly, they don't have as like wide of a range of software, let's say. Most titles make their way to PSVR 2, but not all devs can get their way onto PSVR 2. So you may be lacking in some little bits of glory here and there, or now you have to wait a lot longer because devs try out the Quest, or if it does well, then they possibly include a PSVR 2 later. So that's where I think you fail in it, but the overall software experience, and it's a much more premium device. I mean, I know for a fact that devs cut corners when it comes to Quest. They're gonna lower the quality of the assets, draw distance, distances, VFX are gonna be cut. Like, there's gonna be a lot of things cut to optimize to get it to work on the Quest, which is just where we're at right now. There could be a day and age where that's not the case, and they fixed everything and optimized things to where it could run something like that. I mean, I'm sure that day will happen, but is it right now? No. If you want the most premium VR experience at just that price point, once again, considering that you already have a PS5, PSVR2 is gonna be the way to go for the games. Like, and honestly, if you're a gamer and that's what you care about, like, that's it. Like, that's in my opinion the sell right there. It's definitely game focused versus the Quest, which has a lot more bells and whistles, and that's the other side of things. So with the PSVR2, yes, you're getting games, you're getting the best experience with the games, you're getting the best load time with the games. Typically, you're getting the best version of the game outside of like PCR with high-end PC, which once again, we could start talking about that, but then we end up in the same price point area anyway, so who cares? So I think that the major selling point for somebody wanting to get like a Quest 3 out would be the outside of gaming things. I mean, they've been checking out, like I said, the Apple Vision Pro, things like that, and they're like, oh, you know what I mean? I kind of want to play around with that, and you can do basically every little thing that I've seen from the Apple Vision, and I can guarantee you that the fidelity is nowhere near where it is on that device. Can be done on the Quest 3. A lot of it can also be done on the Quest 2, but you're in a black and white pass-through versus like a full color pass-through. I think it may have been updated. I can't really remember at this point, but at the end of the day, your main reasoning would be that you want to play around with both things. And I will say there's some really cool mixed reality stuff. Like, there's the one where the zombies break through the walls. There's one where I can like put instruments all around my house. There's ones where I can have little worlds in here. And I think because of how big Apple Vision's going, a lot of devs are gonna be playing around with that, getting stuff out on Quest, seeing how it works on there, and also vice versa. You know what I mean? They're gonna be developing for both platforms because there's gonna be a lot more money at the moment on Quest than there is gonna be on Apple Vision. Eventually, I'm sure that will change, but right now, this is the world that we live in. So if you're wanting to be on the cutting edge of VR technology on top of games, Quest 3 is where it's at. You know what I mean? You're gonna get more out of it. You're gonna get more bang for your buck when it comes to that, if that's what you want to do. If you just wanna play the games and you want the best games and the best experience and the smoothest experience, I cannot recommend PSVR2 enough. It's an amazing device that does so much, but like I said, if you want both, Quest 3. I mean, no brainer. Also, talking that I've heard from other people, like let's say you're younger watching this video, there is probably a higher chance that one of your friends is going to have a Quest device versus a PSVR 2. Just something I'm hearing. Like, I hear the dads say like their kids try it out, but they're like, I don't really want to play because none of my friends have it. And until we see more like of those games where you can play in either PSVR 2 and on just like the Sense controller, you know what I mean, like flat and VR, or we just see more people adopt it, which I don't know. I think the PSVR 2 is gonna be really like older gamers kind of thing. Like, I think teenagers and younger are gonna really migrate towards Quest, which honestly could be also a selling point for you. But yes, there are a lot of co-op games, you know what I mean? There are ways to play, but overall, you're gonna have a better multiplayer experience with your buddies, and it's gonna be easier and more seamless. You'll be able to do more if you're all on the Quest platform. So, I mean, I would take that into consideration as well. If you know what I mean, you're just trying to hop in on some fire games, and you got like $500 laying around, and you're like, what am I gonna get? I mean, you probably made up your mind at this point. Honestly, I feel like I always made my mind up, but I just watch these to like feel better about my decision. And so yeah, if that makes you feel better about your decision, game over. Like, that's the answer. So finally, controllers. So big thing on controllers. I mean, the haptics on the PSVR 2 controllers, like I said, game-centric. They feel great for the games. The ergonomics and just the general feel of the Quest 3 controllers, I like them. You know what I mean? They're these cool little things. You can do the hand tracking. I'll use it sometimes for like typing stuff in and that. I haven't really fully embraced the whole hand tracking thing. I like a physical device. I feel like it helps. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still grounded enough in reality to where I can't disassociate myself enough from the physical world to where I can bring on that like physical feel of just a immaterial device. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's been times where you can kind of get it and you get those same feelings. I'm not there yet. I still like tactile feedback. So, I really like the PSVR 2 controllers. If like the Quest did some kind of pro controller that had all this and that in it, or put those to work, that would be great. The only downside is you can't buy more PSVR2 controllers, so that's no fun. But yeah, so just if you do get them, please take care of them right now. Like I said, you can't buy another set. You have to buy another headset, which is a pain because it can't like you just buy another headset, and who wants to buy just a headset? It's not like you could resell it or this and that. So yeah, that's something to take into consideration as well. But yes, overall, those are my thoughts when comparing the PSVR 2 to the Quest 3. I mean, I'm sure that there's tons of other things we could cover. The battery life, you know what I mean, versus no battery life. Like, that's a perk. The end of the day, it's, do you want to play the most do you have a PS5 and want to play the most premium VR games the easiest way possible? Or do you want to like play a bunch of different VR games, maybe a little more friction here and there, but also play around with some other really cool tech, this and that? I mean, that's kind of the coin that we're talking right now. I'm looking at both of these headsets right now. I easily could have had them in my hands, but you know what I mean? I feel like it's nice to like channel their vibes. But yeah, so that's it. I've spent a lot of time with both devices. I love both devices. Like I said, both have great use cases. Both have different use cases. In a perfect world, you have both devices right now. But we can't all live in that perfect world. So yeah, please let me know if you've been thinking about this decision, if you've made a decision, if you've hopped on board, if you have both devices, if you just have one. Like, come on, please talk to me. I'm sitting here, I'm starving for people to give me some attention. No, I'm kidding, not attention. I just honestly love chatting. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming through. Frank here. I hope that this informs your decision, or if anything was an entertaining video to hear my perspective on all of that. But regardless, have a lovely afternoon. You are wonderful. Evening, day, whatever time, wherever it is in the world for you, you're amazing. Don't stop being yourself. That's the most important thing to do. My name's Frank, and oh yeah, friggin' subscribe. I mean, come on, nah, smudges.
Frank Show, what? The Frank Show, come on, the Frank Show, what? The Frank Show, come on, the Frank Show, what? The Frank Show, come on, Frank Show. It's time for the show.